Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, here we are. We are live. It took a while to see the button that said go live. Good
Oh.
evening, everyone. If you are um uh here, well, I don't even know what the heck I'm saying. That just tells how tired I am. But good evening, good evening. It's the Millionaire Ladies Mob, and we are live. Tonight, it's Aaliyah and I. And Saran, if you're out there, please come jump on and join us. We're just chit chatting tonight. If you have any questions, this is the night to ask it. Um, we'll just be talking about just various topics. And we'll be off next week. Are you looking forward to that?
I am. I am.
Yeah,
I will
next week
be
we'll be.
off. And we're just, you know what? But we really won't be off because we'll still be working because
We
it's the wind down for open enrollment. So I have appointments on
right.
Thursday.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna set any on Thursday if I can help it, unless somebody really can't um can't meet on that's the only day that they can meet. Then I'm gonna make sure that I can talk with them then. But other than that, I'm not gonna really set appointments for Thursday.
Really, I have a
Don't
client
don't
in
tell don't tell anyone. Shh.
Well, I have a client in Hawaii and one in Nevada. And so they were so busy. And I said, hey, I'm just going to be at home because my babies are in Costa Rica.
Oh my goodness, I forgot about that. So wait, so they're spending Thanksgiving in Costa Rica?
Yeah, they're going to be on vacation with their parents and a lot of their friends. And so
Okay.
I forgot to send you pictures. They are having, it was raining, it was beautiful. And this is what, as you grow older, what's things that you really appreciate.
Right.
And when you start talking about building a legacy for yourself and your family, you think about, did I do everything that I wanted to do in life?
Right.
When my son was little, I took him on vacation every year. He kind of got bored with going different places. We, climbed that falls in Jamaica. We went on Disney cruises. We went, the Mexican Riviera. We went to, I enjoyed traveling. And then for the
Right.
last few years, because of COVID, I haven't been doing anything. And I am so looking forward to next year. My friend Michelle, we are planning a trip to South Africa. And, I'm going to post it when she gets back because what she's going to do, we have something really, really, really good planned because she's going to start a business and I'm going to help her because
Hmm.
she loves South Africa and she's lived there for,
Right.
a couple years and she comes back and forth. And it's a beautiful place. I've never thought to even go. And I even have friends that have moved to Ghana and they're really enjoying it. I don't see them posting like they promised they'd post online, but they're really busy going after their roots, looking for where they came from and things like that. I would love to do one of those ancestry things. Have you done that before?
Yeah, I did. I did. Okay, let me tell you about that. This is a real chit chat. I'm telling you, guys.
We're chit chatting.
Us, join us. Ask any questions. Feel free to join the conversation. Put something in the chat you want us to talk about. Um, and we're gonna hit on some points that are important because it's still open enrollment and things like that, right? But I did do the ancestry thing. I think I did the 20 I did 23 in me,
Oh,
right? I did
okay.
23 in me. And let me tell you, I was a little bit surprised.
Really?
Yeah, because so I have Nigerian in my background,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, and some other place. So I can't remember
Okay.
exactly. I have to look it up and tell you what the report said, right?
Okay.
But I
Okay.
found so many people. It's funny how they do this DNA. Like I found so one surprising thing was I went to school with a kid. If he ever looks at this, he'll know who he is, but I'm not going to tell. to tell whatever. But we were in high school together. Um, and he showed up as one of my cousins.
Oh my goodness.
And I sent him I sent him a message because he was on Facebook. He was my Facebook friend. I said, "Hey, cuz," and he was like, "Where you get that from?" I said, "You." I said, "You are my cousin. You show up. I think we are like second cousins or something like that, or whatever, third cousins. I don't know, but we were in the same classes. We went to school together,
Oh
and
wow.
I don't know how to figure out who. Well, I guess I do know. We could just talk about it and figure out how we are actually related. But we are blood related. But we were in high school together. Hey, look at what could have happened,
Oh,
right?
that could have been bad.
That could have been bad. We could have been like the Brits.
I know. I
We're gonna marry
know.
your cousins and stuff like that.
I
So
know.
yeah, I did. So you never did one?
I haven't done one. I would like to do one. When I think about my family, and the reason I think about them is because I want to know the illnesses that are in my family.
That's a good. That's a good
I
reason.
just
That's a
want to
good.
know what I'm predisposed for. So as I get older, you know, there are certain diseases that I know some of my family members have that I would like to know if there's something deeper or if there's something,
Right.
more.
If you're joining us, if you just joined us, tell us. Have you done a DNA ancestry thing? Have you done one? Tell us. Tell us about it if you have done one. Um, So that is a real good reason for doing it. And one of the things, a lot of times I will get messages from them to see if I want to participate in a study because people normally with this blood type or this whatever are predisposed to such and such. So that's how they kind of do some studies also. I guess some informal studies to figure out some of the things. And it also shows you diseases that you are pre-exposed to, and it gives you, it tells you like what percent you could get this
Really?
or that.
And see,
I only had something with my eyes, which is probably why I need to go have surgery on my eyes within the next month or so.
oh
uh,
wow,
because I'm
wow.
look at this, listen to this statement, I'm pretty young.
You are.
I'm pretty young to be having the problems that I'm having with my eyes right now. It typically doesn't come for about 10 more years. But here I am in my late 50s.
Wow.
And yeah, and I'm having
Eye
those
problems.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I know that heart, and see, when I was doing my insurance and I was thinking, okay, so they ask all these questions on the application, your mother, your father, your sisters. They want to know, and the reason they want to know is so that if you even show a trace of it, they have to account for that in your life expectancy.
Mhm.
And I know that my dad died very young. He was only 45 and he
Oh
died
wow.
of heart disease. Yeah. But let me tell you about my dad. He was such a hard worker. And this is why I got into the insurance industry today. He was such a hard worker. He owned a real estate agency, but he worked sun up, sundown. That's all he knew was to work. And he
Mhm.
worked and he worked and he worked. So he had his first heart attack when he was 33 years old.
You are kidding.
Yeah, he was 33 and had his first heart attack. And then he had another one. But as he worked, he smoked. And I remember, the smoke in the house. And I remember him trying. He tried very hard to quit. He even went to Schick. I don't know if anybody remembers that. There was this place called Schick Centers where they would do stuff to you when you try, when you're trying to quit smoking. They would burn you with a cigarette and you make you eat crazy stuff. And he went there trying to stop smoking. And smoking apparently was very difficult. And so when I think about what he went through and then him finally passing away at 45, I became an insurance agent because what I saw is that we didn't get the education that we should have had about life insurance and building, when you build a legacy and passing on businesses, because what I see a lot of people out there just building these businesses, huge businesses, and they don't even think about it. And I also saw your video that you posted with that rapper who made a light bulb moment in his life and
Right.
changed it forever. But that was one of the reasons I became a life insurance, because I didn't think that we got the help we needed. We didn't know, and now there are so many resources for us to create wealth, and that means beyond generation after generation after
Right.
generation. Because the Rockefellers didn't do it just because they did it, because they were tenacious and they went after what they wanted, and they built a legacy to keep going.
Right.
We still talk about them today. I mean, it's been hundreds of years. you
So
know
I like exactly, and I like that because we always you hear people say this term, I guess. They'll say success leaves clues, and it's
Mm,
absolutely true. We have the blueprint. We just got to go execute it, right? And so things like I that's why I think what we do is important, just kind of sharing this knowledge and talking about it, and so that people can be exposed to it. Because remember, we weren't exposed to it at all, especially the types of instruments that people like the Rockefellers use. We weren't exposed to that. First of all, we thought, right, based on what they gave us. If you go back into the 1800s and stuff like that, they might have been insuring black people, but we were being insured as a commodity, not as a person. It's just like they insured their goods. If something happened and the house burned down or whatever, and a slave died, that's what that was for. But when
mhm.
black people were free, you weren't able to just go buy life insurance like that,
Right.
and but life insurance has been around forever, right? Welcome, people. Just put something in the chat. We're just chit chatting today, the week before Thanksgiving. Um but when in the earlier years, when our people tried to do something about it, the type of life insurance that they could offer was what we think of life insurance is right now. But that's what they could offer, right? That's what that company could offer. They couldn't offer the big things that the other companies were doing. They could offer us a small death benefit, 5,000 or $10,000 if we died, $20,000 if we died. Then the family had some way of putting you away nicely. So they didn't have the the ability to sell $1 million policies and things like that. And the other companies, the big huge companies, they did not sell to black people. And even if they did, it was very, very expensive. So it was hard to even get coverage through these people. That didn't start rectifying itself until late, maybe in the 70s or something like that. And listen to this. Even though they started selling insurance to black people and offering them some of the types of products that they were offering to other groups, they on purpose didn't offer it to us. Like, they didn't educate us. They went into other communities and educated them. They offered them pamphlets and brochures with people that look like them. They did it with the Asian community. They did it with the Jewish community. They did it with all these other communities. They didn't do it with the black communities. And if you don't believe me, you could go read that book that's called Closing the Wealth Gap. It's by I think it's called Closing the Wealth Gap. It's by Eugene Mitchell, and he talks about his experience in one big company, that he realized that there was absolutely nothing being done for the black community, and he questioned it. Dare him question, right? But he did question it. And they basically told him that Black people do not buy life insurance, that put in that kind of um, uh, resources in the Black community was a negative return on them, for them, on their dollars. It wasn't good business, right? So he set out to write the business plan for Black America to get Black people um, insured in and protected, get their lives protected. And that's how he's called right now. I think it's the $50 billion man, because he set out to get at least 200 families, Black families, insured with at least $250,000 of life insurance.
And Carmen, why is it that we mentally can't think over $50,000 or $100,000 of insurance when 250, 500, it would change your family's life? I mean, they
Yeah.
may spend it up, but give them enough that they can spend some of it, and then maybe they won't, think after they spend the first 100,000, they can say, wait a minute, let's start doing something proper with this money. Let's invest it.
And that's why we have to educate people, because it's not just getting the money, right? It's not just getting the money or making the money and leaving it for the family. We also have to educate them so that they continue to do this. Man, we need to start thinking in terms of generations. The money we are going to leave is not for our children, it's for like our grandchildren. And the money that our next generation is going to leave is for their children's children. So
Right.
we got to start thinking in generations,
Mm-hmm.
right? When we do that. And right now, we need to start with these three generations that's right here. Sometimes you have four, but think me, I think my mom, think me, think my parent, right? Or let's say my kids especially, because my mom is older now, and she's also ill, and that has a big factor in how much the insurance companies are not trying to put $3 million on my mom, because they're like, that's just not a good investment, right? But my children, the insurance company would put $3 million on my life. And that's where my child we need to teach the millennials. But they need to understand, hey, we need to get together, right? Like my children should get together and make sure that they have a policy, that they're paying a policy on me. And whatever that does, is for their children. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
It doesn't even matter what I have, right? And then when I'm talking to young people, sometimes their parent have nothing or their parent can't afford it, but they can be the change. They
You
can
know what?
start.
That's a plan. Let's talk about this plan. Let's make it a goal. If you are listening, let's make it a goal to, if you are a parent or a grandparent, let's get the family together and stop making talking about money taboo. You have to have the conversation. There are families who don't want to talk about what's going to happen when papa dies, what's going to happen when grandma dies. All they want to know is who's going to get the house, or am I going to get the house, or am I going to get the car. No, let's not worry about that. Put that stuff in a trust. Let that stay in the family for years. We need to be buying up farmland, putting it in a trust, because
Girl.
I saw this post today. And we'll get back to the insurance. So the FDA approved some kind of meat that's created in a factory to be put out today, to be sold today.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw a post. I saw the article come through the news feed, because I get these news feeds all day.
Right.
I have to go back and read it. But I don't want to eat something manufactured in a in a petri
Three or
dish.
something.
I don't want to do it.
I agree.
I I want something that's in from the ground, that has grown, or a cow that I know that where they're eating. So we got to go back to our roots, or they're going to poison us with
Oh yeah.
this stuff. I don't want stuff out of a lab. I just don't. I mean,
Right.
to me, it doesn't seem right.
Right. Right.
You know.
Man, I agree with you. But on that, you talked a little bit about trust, about they should put things in trust, right? I was talking to my son yesterday, and my
Uh-huh.
son runs into this stuff all the time, right? Because he's a paralegal, he's a senior paralegal, and he works for an attorney.
Uh-huh.
um and they deal in he started out in personal injury, but now he's in real estate. I actually need to get him on this show to come talk about home ownership and what people should do to get prepared for that and whatever. Both of my boys bought their houses really young, right out of college, and then moved from my home into their home, and now, had I known now what I knew then, I would have encouraged my boys, because they were both single at the time, to have gotten multifamily homes when they first started, instead of a
Uh-huh.
single family home. Because although a single family home is a good investment and is good, using credit wisely, you can do better by talking to these kids about multifamily homes and having somebody else pay the mortgage while you live there. So
Yeah,
now it becomes really, it's not just an asset, but it becomes an income producing asset.
that's right.
And
That's
and
right.
and it's and that's the kind of conversation I'm having with my 11-year-old granddaughter, right? We
Okay.
need to start thinking about where you're going to go to school now, because we want to start scoping out real estate and things like that, because we want to purchase when you go to college that place close by the college, so that your roommates will be paying your mortgage.
I love that. I love that. So
But
again,
that is
let's
that is
start
the
from the plan.
conversation.
So
Yeah,
the first plan. Okay, so let's go back. The plan is, if you're a parent or grandparent, how much insurance do you have on your life? And let's talk about it. If you have 100,000, that's not going to last generations. If you have 200,000, that's not going to last generations. Get your family together and start talking about it. How much can everybody afford? $100 a month? You got 4 kids. Can they afford $200 a month each to put into a policy for you? See how much that buys. Can they afford a little more, or
all right.
any excess income? And then buy that big $1 million policy, so that if something happens to you, the funds, tax free.
Right,
Life
right.
insurance proceeds are tax free. You guys have a starting point. I mean, real estate, I heard the interest rates went down a little bit today, but
Did
real
it?
estate,
Okay.
it went down from 7 to 6 something. I didn't even
Okay,
know it was
it's a
that
big
high
drop,
yet.
big drop.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was that high yet. But property values are just unbelievably high. And just think, if you can help your children and your grandchildren buy something that will go up, 1,000-fold,
Right.
because these properties
Listen,
are
if you
going
are
up.
listening to us, please share. If you're listening to us in our group, if you're listening to us in the group, you probably cannot share, because in the group we can't share. But today we are live on our individual pages as well. So if you go to our individual page, and most of our pages are public, you can share, because people need to hear this. And um, please like our business pages, our groups, YouTube. It's on live on YouTube right now. So subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to share that content and things like that. By the way, I'm going to be live tomorrow on a radio station, a Caribbean radio station. I think both of these people are all Guyanese people. So come listen. We're going to be talking with our accents on there.
I love to hear it.
uh, I heard I'm gonna share their page and their YouTube. So because it's gonna go live on their YouTube, I think it's an actual radio station, but they
Mhm.
are live as well, not just audio. I was thinking, oh, I can just sit in my house and talk, and they wouldn't even know that my hair not done. I look like crap or whatever. But turns out I'm gonna have to get up and like fix pat my hair up and
Okay.
do look a little
So are you going to be
thing.
talking financial literacy tomorrow?
Of course, that's what I
Right.
do. We're going to be talking financial literacy tomorrow. So you definitely want to tune in for that. But this conversation is our things, uh, the word life insurance just turns people away. People just like, I got life insurance through my job. Well, I don't. I'm not. I'm gonna get that later. I don't want to talk about my death, right? But there's just one thing: none of us will get out of life alive, and so, and
That is so
so,
true.
right, and so let's plan for it, right? Let's plan for the worst, hope for the best. But I was trying to tell a story in our chit chat that we're having today about my son. So we're talking about someone who had so many properties that passed away, right? But he did not do anything to protect it. So just think about it. Worked hard every day, and got all these different properties, right? And then when he died, it was supposed to be passed to his children. And I think he had like two daughters. And one daughter didn't have any kids. The other one got married. So one daughter wasn't married, one daughter didn't have any kids. When he passed, that stuff passed to his daughters. But the one that didn't have any kids, she died. So
Oh,
there goes that stuff that man worked for so hard is not going anywhere no more. The one that had kids, those properties now went directly to her. Not kids. The uh she had kids, but she was married to somebody else other, and she those properties went to her. And when she died without anything, guess who they went to?
him.
Some guy that wasn't the property. Everything went to that guy because they were married, right? And
Oh, you're frozen. Okay, she's frozen. So what she was telling us a story about someone who worked really hard and ended up the what he worked hard for didn't really go to the people he intended it for. And so what we are encouraging people to do is to take a look, sit back, gather your family together, talk about what's going on in the finances. Let them know what's going on. Sit down. And I know we don't like to talk about death. We don't like to talk about life insurance. We just don't. It's just not something that we're comfortable with. But I read a post today and I know about this. Life insurance is the biggest cheat code. You can cheat. It's a cheat code and to build generational wealth. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is you can use life insurance to build wealth for generations, your children and your children.
I
There
was
she's back.
gone.
Look, there
I
she's
don't know
back.
what happened.
She's back. I was talking. Now you almost froze again.
Oh my god! And we're switched now. Look, I'm on the other
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, we were talking.
Oh,
I just kind of finished your story, and then I started talking about the biggest cheat code in on today is life insurance to build generational wealth, and how life insurance is mostly taboo. People don't want to talk about it.
right. But so before the internet kicks me off again, the story was here was somebody who worked hard, and now
Hmm.
that did not even pass down to his family because it went to someone his daughter married. And then guess what that person did? He was like an invest. He wasn't an investor. He just wanted all the properties gone. He was in a different state, and he didn't want to have to manage them. He
And he
sold
just
them off. He just
oh
sold them off. Like one property that they were doing. One thing. Um, he just sold them off, like for little bits of money, and people could just turn it over. It's crazy. It's crazy. So your hard earned wealth that you have acquired can end up into some stranger's hands, somebody that doesn't even care. And now, not only you, even if your child, you didn't have any children, but now your grandchildren don't get any, nieces and nephews doesn't get anything, and things like that. So we have to. It's not only about protecting. it's not only about protecting your income or whatever, but also protecting it so it does last for generations. So I'm glad you talked a little bit about.
Yeah. And you
Um,
know what else, Carmen? I think this is Long-Term Care Awareness Month.
oh my
Um,
goodness, yeah, talk
yes,
about that because you sent me something today.
I did. And you
Let
know,
me pull
the
that
reason,
up.
and you, but you know what? The reason that it dovetail with life insurance is because if you plan correctly and you become critically ill or have a stroke, I know people that have had a stroke, it's changed their life. They cannot do anything they did the day before they had the stroke. So
Right.
it changes your life. If you had a life insurance policy that had the rider, the critical illness rider, the critical accident rider. An accident can change your life. I fell outside the other day, and I literally thought, you know what? If I had fell any harder, if it, I mean, it could have changed my life. I'm okay. You
Right.
know, I'm very
Right.
sore, and you know, my back and my neck is hurting, but I'll live. But what if you have a major accident? Like I had a client that fell off of a roof while he was trying to do something to his house. He fell
Wow.
off the roof and it changed his life forever. I have someone else I know had a car accident, rolled over, changed his two people I know right now, changed their life forever. They will not be able to go back to work. Now, think about it. If they had the life insurance with the critical illness, which we talk about, the living benefits, and we have talked about this and talked about this several episodes. Living benefits are just that, living benefits while you are alive. If you need long term care, some plans we can put riders on them where if you need long term care, you know, the cost of a senior facility, they start at about 4 grand a month, a
Yeah.
decent one. If you want to be in a decent one and you want some, and you know what? Are there any decent ones? I don't know.
I
You
think
know,
there are
because
some. You
you
got to
think there are
pay.
some?
You got to pay. You got to pay. But
Mm,
it's that's a great example. Even if you are, even if you are not qualified for a life insurance policy with the critical riders. And by the way, we're talking about you have to get the policies with those. We call them living benefits: the chronic illness, the critical illness, terminal illness, critical injury. Not every company has those. Okay, you can buy some life insurance, really inexpensive, and but you have to die to use it, right? Yes, it's going to protect whomever you have left, but what if you are there struggling and you could have used it if you had just if you knew that you could have made such a decision, if you knew that you could have gotten a policy with living benefits. But even if you can't, let's say you can't qualify for one of those right now, right? Uh, there are other products that you can get and attach those types of riders to it. Like you can attach a nursing home rider or a long term care rider to your annuity policy, which don't have any medical qualifications. There are no medical questions asked and things like that. I don't know who's this person that's on our thing, girl, but the person said, "What's up, N words?" I don't know who you talking to, buddy, but that's just not cool.
I don't know.
I do not know. But anyway, welcome, and I hope you're learning something from from what we're saying.
Yes, and you know what, Carmen, and you're frozen again. But I wanted to talk about that life insurance with the living benefits because, like I said, an accident can literally change your life. A critical now you're back.
Yeah, it's mine. It's mine.
It's your
I
internet.
am in the basement and I don't know what's going on with my
Okay,
internet. It shouldn't
okay.
be doing this, but go ahead.
Okay, and we were talking about the life insurance with the living benefits and how it's very, you really need it. Now, also, even if you don't get a life insurance policy or you have a small life insurance policy with the living benefits, There are also other policies that we offer. So, because it's open enrollment, and the reason why we're so tired is because we're in open enrollment for under 65 and over 65. And I literally spend hours on the phone talking to clients about Medicare and what's going on in their life. So, I had a client last week, a very nice man. He was 60 years old. So, I'm thinking, okay, you're eligible for Medicare. Well, a couple of the reasons why you become eligible for Medicare are you are have been disabled for 24 months. And so what happened is this gentleman was disabled for 24 months and his Medicare is going to be, well, it actually is effective December the 1st. Well,
Mm-hmm.
in conversation with him, Carmen, in the conversation with him, I found out because we also helped him with his Affordable Care Act plan. So he was on an
Right.
ACA plan and he was wondering, why do I have to get off of this ACA Affordable
Right.
Care Act plan? So I explained why. And he said, I'm so happy that last year when I bought the policy, you guys kind of forced me to get this cancer policy. And I said, forced you?
Mm-hmm.
He said, yeah, I didn't want it. Young man, 50, in his 50s, late 50s, still working as a truck driver every day on the road, very gainfully employed, making six figures. Okay. He gets sick. He gets diagnosed with cancer. We made him buy the $40,000. That's how much it was, $40,000 benefit. We made him buy it,
It
but we
probably would.
encouraged him.
It probably was what, 30, $40 a month. What was
It
it?
wasn't even, I don't even think it was that much. And guess
Mm.
what? He filed a claim when he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. So that
Wow.
means that he is, and it broke my heart. And
Mm.
so now he has $40,000. But guess what? They're expenses that he had no idea were going to come up. Um,
Right.
so those are the things that we have to think about. What is going to come up if I get diagnosed with a terminal illness or even just a simple cancer, a skin cancer, or colon cancer, or pancreatic cancer? There's all kinds of cancers that you're going to fight. Well, he had MRIs and things that he needed done that were out of network for the doctor, that he needed to go because he lives in a rural area. And there are other things. And he wanted to just kind of have that and just be okay, you know? And because he has to think about this because he will pass away soon. We don't know how soon, but the doctor didn't give him a long time to live. And just think
Mm-hmm.
about it. You have $40,000. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to go and travel and do some stuff. I'm going to say, okay, forget about this. I'm going to go and travel and do some stuff. 40,000 may not be a whole lot, but I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going
And
to
at
make it
least,
stretch.
it was sad, but at least you did help him with that little, with a little bit of comfort, a little bit of stress relief during this time that he can use that for.
Right.
And if you're listening and you're thinking, well, what is that? Those are types of policies. There's cancer policies, critical illness policies, hospital indemnity policies. I often think of them as they're supplemental insurance products, but I think of them as something to close gaps a lot of times. With the exception, with when it comes to like the cancer policies, lots of times the younger you are, of course, it's going to be so much more inexpensive, but a lot of times those are lump sum policies. You can do $50,000, you can do $100,000, and upon diagnosis that money is given to you, and now you can use that money to help with your treatment or to travel, just do some things that you haven't been able to do, right? Hospital indemnity plans, if you and if you were on a Medicare Advantage plan, you should get an hospital indemnity plan, because when you go into the hospital, many of those plans, you're paying for the first 4 days that you're in there, and you're paying as if you're staying at a five-star hotel. So you can have like $300-400 a day for a couple of days, and some of them, which I was shocked today, was just a blanket amount for the stay, kind of like if you were just on original Medicare, like 1800 something dollars for the stay, whether you were in there 2 days, 1 day, 4 days, or 10 days. So um talk reach out to us and talk to us about what things you can do to cover gaps, right? Don't just always take that zero plan as, oh, I pay zero. No, you have zero premium, but you may have co-insurances, you may have co-payments. The great thing about things like a Medicare Advantage plan is that it maximizes how much you will spend out of pocket, but you will spend out of pocket.
You will. Yeah,
You
you will.
you know.
Carmen, I remember when my husband was sick and we had a hospital indemnity policy. I had just heard about these policies, and we were fairly young, but he got really sick. Every time he went to the hospital, he was like, "Oh man!" It was a 2 week process every time he went, and all because he was sick, all we could get was a policy that paid $100 a day. And so
Hmm.
every time he went to the hospital, it was for 2 weeks. He filed a claim. He got $100 a day for 14 days. And he says, okay, they paid me to go to the hospital. We had insurance, but they paid me to go to the hospital. He hated it. But you know what?
Right.
When the check came, he was like, okay, I should have stayed. I could have stayed longer. He hated being in the hospital, and I don't blame him. Who wants to be in the hospital? But if you're in the
Exactly.
hospital and you have an indemnity plan, some of them can pay up to $1,000 a day
Right.
in benefit, and we
And
don't
that
just
money
want
comes
to.
directly to you.
It
That
comes
money comes
directly to
directly
us.
to you,
That's right.
indemnifies you, make you whole again. And so for those things, if you have a plan that pays $300 a day, but you only had to pay $200 to the hospital, that's $100 for yourself. So
That's right.
these are, I call it insurance on the insurance. You know what I mean? To plug those holes and those gaps and things like that.
That's right.
But yeah.
And thanks for joining. If anybody out there, we're just doing some chit chat. We are so tired and exhausted because this is open enrollment. We really just wanted to come on and make sure we just start talking. And when me and Carmen get to talking, you
Yes,
don't know what's gonna come out of our mouth.
exactly.
I'm so
Exactly.
tired. I still have a client to call after this, and
Okay.
because this is such an important time for most people, you got to have insurance. You have to have insurance. Like I know people that they insure their car. They have no hesitation because now the law
Oh
says you
yeah.
have to do it. There should be a law that says you have to have life insurance. You cannot walk around here without life insurance. There should be a law.
I guess there should be a law, but you know what? There, once you know, right, you got to do better. And once you understand, sometimes it takes some conversations with people to kind of understand. So we don't think about it, those risks. We're in the day-to-day mire of work of life. We don't think about some of these things. So it's absolutely important um for us to share this information, but it's even more important for you to act on this information. More important, because I know that there are people that's listening to us right now that said, I wish I knew that. They may not even be able to work, you know but they didn't plan on getting ill, but they got ill,
They got
right?
ill.
And now their jobs, either they've exhausted whatever short term disability that they were paying, or they didn't have any at all. And you have to understand that the biggest asset you have is you and your ability to earn, and you have to protect that, because at the minute that you are unable to earn, everything else crumbles. And that's what that insurance policy does for you, whether it's a health insurance policy, whether it's a life insurance policy, whether it with living benefits, whether it's a cancer policy, a critical illness policy. These things all they're standing by you, and if you happen to fall or to falter, they stay and hold up the foundation for you. But when you don't have that there, and you fall, you falter, then everything crumbles. And so that's why it's so important, what we
Very.
do. And if you are listening to us and you'd like to, I want to do that, y'all, come do it. We show you how you can do this. You get training, you get license. It is an, I shouldn't say it's an easy process, but it is a process that anyone can do. Anyone can do. And that I definitely, young people, if you're listening to me, you know, and you might have gone to college or started college and decided, oh, I got to take a break, I can't do this. This is a way for you, something for you to do where you're in control, you know. And even if you're working someplace right now, you can do it. You can do both. You can do both. So we are not only helping to make sure people are protected, but we show people how they can do it as well.
That is so true. And it's a very rewarding career. Like I said, my client who said we made him get the cancer policy,
Right.
he was very thankful that he had that policy. And, children even get cancer, kids.
Yeah.
And you can, for pennies, you can get policies on children. So also, we talked about, I'm going to go back to the original thought about planning for the generation. So if you're a grandparent, grandfather, grandmother, great aunt, uncle, and you have kids that you love in your family, and your nieces have children, your nieces have children. Let's talk about putting a plan in place for the whole family so that generations can continue and not get caught up in the poverty mindset. You don't want your family to struggle constantly. I read an article. I won't even talk about this article I read today about this mother and her child, and the struggle was so real for her. And you
Mm.
just don't want that for your family members. So get together with your kids and your grandkids and map out a plan. Get your financial advisor, your insurance agent that you know, and don't let them talk you out of buying a whole life or universal life, index universal life policy. If you can only afford term, okay, but you need some type of real investment that will create a lifetime of income for the grandchildren. For the grandchildren, we can do
Yeah.
this for our grandkids.
Of course. You know, it's a good time for people. People are going to be having lots of conversation next week, right? Around the table, eating dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, whatever. People are going to have a lot of conversation. Make sure that this is a conversation that come up. And then make sure that you call Aaliyah10k.com. You go to Aaliyah10k.com and schedule something. You can schedule it on Thursday. She says she will answer. And you can go to Carmen10k.com and Saran10k.com as well. Now we're not promising we're gonna be talking with the family as well. So we're not promising we're gonna
Good
answer on
for
Thursday, but
you.
making sure that this is a part of the conversation and reaching out to us and asking a question. I wanted to, Jackie Washington, where some of the comments came up. Jackie said it was called Impossible Burger and Beyond Meat is young millionaire vegan sells these burgers or whatever. It's some kind of vegan meat.
But it's not
Amen.
made in a lab, is it?
It's got to be made somewhere. Somewhere it's made, but I don't know what they're using. It's probably some kind of plant based thing because
Okay, yeah, but you
you know
know what? I went to that restaurant in Atlanta. What was it? It's the
slutty vegan.
yeah, yeah.
It was good.
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I would, going vegan, I don't know, I could do that. And that meat is not bad. I just don't want something that is out of a dish. I just,
I hear you. A petri
you know,
dish. A petri
yeah,
dish. A, pe-
vegetable
a
made.
petri dish.
Yeah, I don't want something like that. Now, I don't know
Yeah.
where the Beyond Meat is, I don't know how it's made or whatever. And I just don't want somebody to fake meat.
Right. I hear you. I hear you.
I don't know if I'm explaining that properly.
H says hello to us. He called us superstars. Yeah, that's what we are.
Hey, H.
Superstar.
I follow him.
That
He
is
has
what.
some great
Yeah.
information, though. I
And
mean,
then
he is
Jack,
like,
I don't know, Jack, it says Jack Pickrob blogs. Hey, he says my check, my check, my check. We don't know what you're talking about, but
it's
okay. And then it
okay.
says
How you doing?
whatever. And then I'm buffering. It was me. I'm sorry. It was my thing buffering. But hey, what I'm saying, it's got lots of value. You want to listen up anyway. And then Jason White, I don't know about you, boy, but
It's
all
okay.
righty. So, quickly, when does Medicare enrollment end?
December the 7th.
December the 7th. So you still got some time to call us. Even if, let me tell you, it doesn't hurt you to listen. It doesn't hurt. Oh my iPad keeps falling
You
apart.
were dropping that camera.
My
We this
iPad
is
keeps
the
falling.
impromptu chat tonight.
I know, right? We were supposed to not even be on, but my iPad keeps falling over. But here's the thing: even if you've already made a decision, right? You can listen and see if try to make sure if you have the right plan, because sometimes people don't have your best interests at heart. We're never going to change you to something that's worse for you. So, still, you can still reach out to us if you want to make sure that you're in the right plan. I spoke to someone today that says, "Listen, this plan is working for me. It's great and stuff like that." And then I showed him some pitfalls, and he's like, what? Let's talk tomorrow." Like, what? Really? Because it, there are many great plans out there, but every plan does not fit everyone, right? So just because it has one great thing, but you have something else that definitely needs taking care of as well. It's not good to just jump on one.
And
Also,
remember, Uncle Bob and Aunt Sue may have a plan that fits them and
right,
does not fit you. I
right,
had this happen. They say, "Well, my uncle told me to get this plan, and I need to get this plan," and that's what he said. Get well. Did your uncle realize that you're not 65 and it's not going to cost $100? It's going to
right.
cost a couple of $100 for you because you're not 65.
And
And
you're disabled.
that's right. So it's there, one size does not fit all.
At all.
And that's what
Right.
all we're trying to do. We're trying to help people. And that's what the Millionaire Ladies Mob is for. We're helping you keep that money in your pocket and grow generational wealth for your family, your kids, your grandkids, and your great grandkids.
That's
So,
right. And when we get off, make sure I remind you to tell it. I don't want to say this now because someone is gonna steal it, but I'm gonna tell you. We I gotta talk to you about that. But here's the other thing. For under 65 people, if you do not have insurance or you're on Cobra or something like that, you want to reach out to us. There's so many changes in the laws that people can get a really inexpensive plan, some $0 plans that still have a good deductible that can cover you, but you can get a plan, as long as you're making less than $50,000 a year. Reach out, not just for a single person is what I'm talking about. There may be help for you, so reach out to us.
right.
um I spoke to someone today, and they had been on some extended insurance with their job. They left their job, but they had it for about 2 years or some amount of years, and now they're like, "I have to figure out about finding a plan." And I was like, "No, you don't have to figure out about finding a plan because you have me in your life. I'm gonna help you figure out
That's
what to
right.
do." So if you need a Carmen in your life, or you need an Aaliyah in your life, you are at Saran in your life, you want to reach out. Remember 10k.com and just our name before it, Carmen10k.com, Aaliyah10k.com, Saran10k.com. Hit us up, and we will be able to help you with
Right.
your life insurance, with your health insurance, with uh, your annuities, with planning for retirement, with helping you figure out what you need to do to protect some of this money and make it last forever. Make it last forever.
Oh. So
Alrighty,
I guess
so
we're gonna sign off, and we won't be here next week. Next week we're gonna take off for the Millionaire Ladies Mob, but we'll be back after that, and we're gonna have some other things to talk about because there's so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about.
yes.
So wow, Okay. People are texting me and things like that. So I think we're going to sign off now. Bye, everybody. You're ready to go, Carmen?
Yeah, bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.